Hello, hello. Welcome to today's episode. I am absolutely loving this platform on the Riverside channel. So, those of you who have been following me for a long time, thank you. And also to all of my new OGs and my longtime veterans, I want to tell you I've made the switch from Podbean over to the Riverside.fm platform. I am able to do so much with this platform that I have not been able to do for a really long time. And I realized that the more that I stayed comfortable with what was familiar, simple, easy, and something I knew, it was just easier for me to go to this platform, the other one, and just do what I do. But I noticed that there came a moment where I needed to upgrade, where I needed to up level. I cannot take with me old ways of doing things into this new journey that I'm going in. And I was burning myself out using all of these extra platforms to do what this one platform does. I was paying more, but I wasn't getting the same thing. I had to pay for different platforms, but the way that I'm wired, I just got annoyed with all of that. So I was like, there's gotta be something out there. But here's the thing. I didn't quit. I didn't waver. My podcast is still growing. In fact, the day that I made the switch, I found out that my podcast was at K, still growing. The most recent episode I did a couple days ago is still getting views and listens. So are the other things, other ones I've done. And I was like, wow, it's amazing. I also saw, and I'm celebrating my first 5-star rating on the Apple podcast platform. So it's awesome to know that my voice is getting heard and people out there are moving beyond the borders of comfort of performance and burning out and the familiar of what we've known for so long, especially in our jobs, in our life. By the way, when you start implementing something and you like what I talk about, you can implement immediately in your own life. But here's where it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop in your personal life. It trickles over into every single area. So imagine you showing up to your job, you showing up to your environment that you go to outside of your home, including your home, as a leader that you have been created to be, and not someone who keeps staying comfortable in the familiar, in the old, in the, well, it's just what we've always done. Yeah, but how is the mindset of, it's just what we've always done, working out for you? The last I checked is familiar keeps us bound and stuck in a cage to a chain, to slavery. I mean, have you as a leader taken a moment to take a step back and just observe how everything around you is going? Observe your employees. Just have you gone out of your office? Have you arranged this with your bosses and tell them, hey, I need a day, I need a few days, or I need a week, a work week to step away from my tasks, and I need time to observe. I need time to get to know my staff. What makes them tick? What makes them click? Who's causing problems, right? We as leaders, it's interesting. We do the same thing day in, day out at our job, but do we even know who we have on the team? Do we know who we have hired as supervisor managers, whatever the case may be? Are we causing the problem? Are we the issue? What I like to do in my coaching, if you will, as a consultant, whatever it is, the things that I do in my I take approaches to hold up a mirror, and I am the mirror for that person, and I hold it up for them to remind them that, hey, you don't have to stay in familiar. You don't have to stay with what's comfortable just to keep getting new results. You don't have to stay doing things a certain way just to be successful. Because what if those old familiar ways of doing things, what if that's actually causing chaos and your environment and team to be on fire? Dumpster fires, infernos. What do we call that? Things burn to the ground. Blame adds to the fire, adds to the spark. It's the lighter fluid. Blame everyone else but myself. But it's like, who's leading the environment? Who's leading the team? I did a post on my socials, on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook about the day Monday. Monday is coming whether we like it or not. Monday is just a day. However, how are you as a leader showing up in your environment? Are you showing up on empty? Did you have a cup of coffee, but you didn't chase it with nutrition? And now you're dehydrated? And now your energy is low. So you walk in, you might say good morning, but when is the last time you went to your staff and said, hey, how's it going? What's your intention for today? How do you want today to go? Let them talk. You're going to hear what keeps them ticking. Then you can use that as part of the vision. Add that to your arsenal. Then you're going to know what gets your department ticking. Then what if you had happier faces instead of dreadful faces, tired faces? By the way, do you know what energizes your team? So if you yourself hate Mondays, right? Monday's just a day, but imagine implementing the what's your vision for this week? What's your intention for this week? What's your intention for today? Watch your team light up and watch them stop in their tracks. Or even just asking, hey, what are you celebrating today? So Monday's coming. Now, if you as a leader hate Mondays and that's been your MO and your go-to, you walk in with energy that's frazzled on 2 cups of coffee, no nutrition, no hydration, you don't have intentions, plans, or a vision on how you want to set the day or how you want your week to go. Guess who else is not going to do the same? And guess who else is going to do the same? The people underneath you, the team, your environment. Even as a person, maybe you don't have a leadership title. I'm specifically speaking to the ones who have a leadership title in healthcare, in jobs, speaking to you today. There are people on your team that you are leading that are waiting for you to step up and take the lead. Now, if you're coming in hating Mondays on fumes, chances are so is your team. But did you know that you might have leaders on your team that's coming into the environment hydrated, nourished, refreshed, already setting the intention for the day, already setting their vision and the tone for the day, people that are operating with a set of boundaries around them so they can walk in to the environment not to be the thermostat, but to be the not to be the thermometer, but be the thermostat, change the energy in the environment. Do you see those people? Those are the people you need to keep on hand. The ones that are draining the department, do you know who they are? Monday's coming. Chances are, if you are walking into your job or career business, let's say you have a brick and mortar business outside of your home, you're considered a leader. This is for you. So if you have people that you've hired that are on your team and they are the Monday dreaders, they're the Eeyores of the environment, they are the drama filled people, the gossipers, the manipulators, the people who can't seem to operate in a high level of emotional intelligence. You see their faces when I'm sharing this, I promise you. You have a responsibility, and it starts with you. Leadership comes from the top, not from the people around you. They are waiting for you to lead. And guess what happens when you don't step up? You have good people leaving your environment. But if you don't take time to observe that, if you don't take time to get out of the familiar, if you don't take time to get out of the comfortable and the, well, I'll let somebody else deal with it. Like, if you don't take the time, if you are overloaded with like tasks every single day and every single week, that does not allow you to observe who you have around you, no wonder you dread Mondays because you are Monday is a reminder of where you abandoned yourself, where you didn't set boundaries, where you forgot who you are, where you stopped having fun outside of work, where you forgot your favorite foods, you forgot your favorite drinks, you forgot how you stay energized, you forgot. Monday's just a reminder. And I'm here to tell you that if you walk in the familiar attitude and energy, every day is going to be a reminder. But also, if you don't take care of the bad seeds, you will have an inferno on your hands. The cleanup is far more expensive than you realize. I have started creating something fantastic for what I do for leaders in corporate, in healthcare, career, in the career field. And I created this amazing program and it's called the Leadership Reclamation. It talks about, it's bringing solutions to step out of burnout, to know of a different way of doing things, to learn like you're not stuck there. And it's a way for leaders to stop drowning in expectations, to be able to create boundaries that protect energy, peace. It's walking yourself through a reclamation. Imagine showing up in a familiar environment, totally changed and unbothered by energy draining things, but knowing when you have that intention and when you set the vision and you then set the tone for your day and your life. And by the way, imagine leaders who do this, I can tell, because these people don't allow stress to get the best of them. These people show up. They also have an expectation and culture that sets the tone for how they desire the environment to go. I love when leaders are leading because I can't follow a leader who isn't leading because you will lead me off a cliff. I even watch people I've had over 3 decades of career experience, and I have watched people that I have worked with in every job I've had, every career field, that have stripped the environment, robbed it, and created such a huge fire that to go back and clean it up took months, years, people still cleaning up the mess. And it's like, wow, just imagine that your boundaries are reclaimed, and just imagine your energy and confidence is reclaimed, and your leadership identity. What does that look like? And your voice is reclaimed. I mean, just imagine not having to put on a facade and sound like a fake masked version of yourself just to show up. By the way, when you so what it is I bring what's called like a wake up call to get to the reclamation, okay? Part of what I do. And it's it's not only just to wake leaders up, but it's to intervene before the fire spreads. Because once a fire spreads, it takes a long time to shut it off, to put it out, right? But then the cleanup, that's the thing. The wake up call is where you as a leader realize what's going on around you, including in your own life, but then the reclamation is what you go through so that your fire doesn't burn down your whole department. One bad leader can create an inferno of chaos that you can't undo without having we'll call it wake up call and reclamation. And the burnout that you're facing isn't because you're tired and you need a nap. No, that it's because the chasing, it's the familiar things that we stay in. That's the burnout, waiting for someone else to step up. Waiting. It's like, but I hired these people. Yeah. But did you catch the red flags in the interview with the words and the actions that they have? By the way, an interview works both ways, right? The person who's seeking work plus you, the leader who's giving the interview. By the way, do you know what red flag words the people sitting in that interview chair are giving you? They can hand you a resume. What's on their resume, by the way? People can look good on a resume, but how do they sound? Do you ask questions to your candidates? One question, do you ask them, how do you handle conflict? Tell me of a time that you handled conflict. Listen to their words. They're going to tell you, but then listen to the words that they say. You're going to get a lot from them. In the interview chair, I remember hearing this guy talk about, he was like a corporate leader, president. He was at the top, and he was talking about his interview process. And he said that one of his things that he would do is take his candidates around to see how they interacted with the other staff. He said because that is a clue on how they will be at the job. How people act towards people in an interview. Now, there are people who do fake it, sure. But for the most part, you can see how people act with other people in an interview. And I'm not sure if he's changed. I'm pretty sure he's changed his interviewing tactics by now, but that's one way. But another way is to like really get clear on your vision and your intention for how you want the culture to go. I'm telling you, when you realize the words I'm telling you today, that sitting in the familiar is going to cost you. It's going to cost you time, energy, money. It's like buying the dollar store version of a BMW or a Lamborghini or a Tesla for your job. I mean, for your career as a leader. You're test driving dollar store knockoffs, but instead you need to test drive the Lamborghini itself and see if that fits the culture so you can get out of the familiar. And with Monday coming, today's Sunday. The way that you show up to lead today sets the tone for how you lead. You can lead your environment into a dumpster fire, into the ground, off a freaking cliff. Or you can step up and say, this chick, yes, she's exactly what we need. This is what I do. I walk you through the wake up call. I do an audit. Then I provide methods using AI to help you create solutions, get a feel for what you need, offer the next steps, which we can do workshops. I can come in and speak. It's not another training where staff need to learn the same thing over and over again. By the way, the same trainings that we're like giving our employees, right? Our team to watch, is that really transforming the department, or is it just another thing to check off the metrics? It's like, why do we train on the same thing? Why don't we find different things to train on? How about emotional intelligence? How about the energy people bring? How about people knowing that the culture is no gossiping, period, the end, leave your drama in your freaking car, you know? And again, this isn't applying to one specific place that I have or people. This is over 3 decades, I believe. Let's just call, actually, over 4 decades. I just did the math. But anyway, over 4 decades. Okay. So when you realize this, you will move out of familiar. The day that I switched my podcast platform to Riverside, I felt something shift. The moment okay, I will tell you what happened just to give the last several months, actually within the last year, I have been wanting to change how I've been doing things with my podcast. But over the last 6 to 7 months, I have intentionally grown my podcast platform to over 1,000 downloads in 6 months. 7 months. That's a huge freaking deal. Testimonials coming, which, by the way, if you're listening to my content and you have a testimonial, I invite you to submit it. Let me know what has happened in your life. Even if it's something small, I would love to hear it. So, but I knew that the more I grew with my podcast, I knew that I want to be able to create different things, like take my podcast, create different things for reels, and I am leveraging my podcast. This is my business card. This is what you get to listen to so that you know who you're hiring. Cuz this is what brings you in, and then we can decide from there whether or not you're a good fit for me to come in, audit, do the wake up call, and then walk you through your reclamation and then tailor it to what you need while I professionally and directly, with a directness, speak on the things that need some change, but it's tailored towards what you envision and what your intention is. And then we use AI, and I give you some other things that is also created and tailored for you. You also get the it's called I just give me 1 second while I look again. It's called the Leadership Reclamation. It's a program that you get in your hands that shows you the non-negotiables of setting and protecting the boundaries. It's you get boundary setting scripts, energetic integrity to stay aligned with your values after getting hired. So I've created a program to keep the reclamation going. That's for you, the leader. Then it spills over into every other area of your life. So that's what I do. So back to my podcast. So as I kept figuring out that, hey, my podcast is growing, I'm going to need to get out of the familiar. And I actually want to grow my podcast in a different direction. I noticed that the more I stayed consistent with building my podcast, guess what happened? I started getting tips and connections with other people. That's cool. I started getting ideas and brainstorming. And then I don't know how I found Riverside. I found it on my own through an AI agent that I use in my Telegram. Okay, AI is amazing, and it gave me this platform. So I went and I checked it out and I tested it out for free, and then I made the complete switch. And guess what? And then I transferred over 100 episodes of my podcast to from Podbean to Riverside. I made sure my Apple podcast was connected and Spotify, because once you're on Apple Podcasts, you are everywhere. And then what did I do? I canceled my entire account with Podbean. Now, when you cancel with Podbean, you lose everything, which means you have no access, which means when you log in, everything you had is gone. Actually, it prevented me from logging in. I couldn't log in. But the moment that I clicked cancel my account and I went through everything and I did all the steps to make sure I had everything in line before I canceled, something felt invigorating. I felt unlocked. I felt new. And I was like, shit, this is really happening. Like, my gosh, this is actually happening. And I haven't gone back since. And I don't regret letting go of the familiar. I don't regret letting go of what used to work. I don't regret letting go of comfort. I don't regret it. Why? Because I've already been consistent in making room for new, but it didn't happen overnight. It happened within the last 7 months. I also every day listen to what's called a vision espresso, where I gain more clarity. My vision is clear, crisp, focused every day. I'm listening to my future self talk to who I am today at the things I have accomplished. And guess what's in there? My podcast. Powerful. It's medicine. It's fire. Now I'm taking it a step further where people hire me to come in and speak, bring transformation. And my podcast is a case in point. It is the business card in which you listen to first, because no one else is doing this quite like I do it. But I didn't get the skills to do this overnight. It's a work in progress. It's been happening for over 4 decades, over 3 or 4 decades. Okay. So I've done the work. I continue to do the work. But every day I set my intentions and I set my vision. With my vision espresso every single day, I don't waver. And it also keeps me going. It's what keeps me staying energized, even when my body physically doesn't have the energy. It keeps me going. I know that I bring transformation. I've got the track record. Every person that I have helped have gotten results in their life. People have paid me to coach them. It started when I rewrote people's resumes. It's where it all started. And I realized that I have the gift of speaking. I have the gift of the voice that transforms people. People listen to me when I talk. So I have the track record. And it's cool that ever since now, today is Sunday, April 19th, 2026. On April 17th, 2026, I transferred podcast platforms. But I don't regret it. I feel confident. I feel more confident now. Now I can even show my face and it will create all kinds of things that I have been waiting to have on one platform. And I was paying more. I literally was paying. It costed me a lot more to stay in the familiar with my other platform. Now, I'm not knocking that platform. It's amazing. In fact, if you want to get started, go ahead. Use Podbean. But I like the Riverside app. I'm going to continue using it. You can still find me on Apple, or you can find me on the Riverside F.FM. Just look up, what is the name of my podcast? I just changed the names. So, in fact, here we go. Let's see. The name of my podcast is, Energy First Leadership Studio. It used to be called the Hype and Flow Studio, but I am moving beyond professional hypergirl lingo models. So even though I do, infuse the professional hype girl into what I do, because let's face it, that's what I do. But now my podcast is called Energy First Leadership Studio because I envisioned it, but I built it. I didn't just overnight buy a microwave button, but my expectations also changed. I also stopped putting high expectations on myself. Expectations are what are what can also, I don't want to say destroy a team, but also cause massive chaos and dysfunction, because when our expectations don't have a check in it, our team fails because they don't meet our expectations. And there's an underlying fear that your team has if they don't meet expectations or accomplish things. That's part of the wake up call. Then the reclamation is, who's on my team that ticks? What makes them click? What brings energy to their life and how can I energize my team today? That should be the question. That should be the focus. What can I do to energize my team today? Not just thank them for all their hard work, not just thank them for what they do for your company. There comes a part where when you keep thanking your employees for what they do for you, they become numb. And it's like, how about you thank me for adding value to your department, right? Or wherever it is. Now, again, this is over 4 decades of experience that I've had. Yes, I've watched it. I have been in it. And now this is what I'm doing with my experience. And so I want to say thank you so much for listening. And by the way, I am going to figure out how to put my links in the show notes for you to get started on your own Vision Espresso. I shared a little bit about that. I'm going to put a link in the show notes for you. And so you, like I said, you can start on your journey. Thank you so much for listening. And to my OG listeners, come find me on Riverside. You can still find me on Apple. And I would love to see your testimonials. I believe it comes in like reviews. So please, yeah, put those on there because I'll see them. And yeah, it's a whole new world leaving the familiar, but it's exciting and it's invigorating. And that concludes this episode.